are live, coming to you live and direct twice in one day. Oh, you must have been really good this week to be getting so much of me. Let me just tell you. But and I brought my spicy, beautiful, caliente sister, Lemny Perez. I'm so excited to spend some time with her, and I know that you'll enjoy seeing her too. She's one of my most favorite people in the space since my day one. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself, and then I will come back and say a few words about her as well. But let me take it away and tell the people who you are.
Thank you so much for having me, Maxximillian. Hi, everyone. For the second time today. I am Lemny Perez. I am a trained clinical psychologist artist based in New York City. I've been in the Web3 space since the pandemic. And I'm really excited to be here with you all. I do mixed media. And just really interdisciplinary with the work that I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of painting. I do a lot of drawing. I do some digital art. I like to do film documentary work as well as some writing. So I'm just really happy to be here with you. And thanks for having me, Maxximillian. Sure. Take your time.
Okay, yeah, it's funny. So I should be able to unmute it with the key, but sometimes it doesn't do it. And it's like, it has jokes. But yeah, so I'm so excited that you're here. And it was such a pleasure catching up with you the other day. It's always a pleasure hearing your voice. So everyone, I promised that I was going to come back and say a few words about Lemony. So let me just say this. Her voice, her energy is really what hooked me into this space. It was 2021. It was late at night. It was even raining. No cap. This actually is really my life. And I was laying in the floor of my bedroom. So, I was probably on some sad girl shit, wondering what I was going to do with my life. And I hear this sound coming from my phone that I never heard before. Because this was back in the Clubhouse days when you actually had to get an invite to join. And I had asked for an invitation like 6 months, 3 months. Apparently nobody I knew or cared, whatever, had let me in. But here it was late at night. It's raining and I'm laying on the floor. And that's when my invite came through. So I grabbed my phone. I'm like, what is this sound? I go into Clubhouse and I'm looking at the rooms. And the first room, no cap, the first room I see, it's artists. It said something about art. So I was like, oh, let me go in there. And it's Lemny, it's Sabed, it's Gabe Weiss, it's Eddie Gangland, it's Art Jedi. I remember all these names because I'm like, who are these people? I love the names, right? And so I remember a lot of the people in the room. It was a huge room. And all of these artists who I just named, they were experiencing some great success because they were all giving advice. Yeah. And the energy was just so palpable, and there was so much like love and appreciation. And I was like, am I dead? Because this, to just walk into a conversation like that. And I was like, wow. And then, they're like, come back tomorrow. And this is a time where like every day, it was like 24 hours of art conversations, 24 hours of conversations about cryptocurrency, 24 hours of conversations about blockchain. And it was all so very exciting because it was all new to me.
Yeah.
I knew about crypto. I had just, because I was hacking around, but I didn't know about the crypto art situation. So this was just like amazing because I'd been making animated art and things like this for years with no place to share it except for Tumblr, which wasn't very satisfying for me. So, I was making this stuff, but it didn't really have an outlet. And when I started to understand what all these artists were talking about, I was hooked. And every day it was Lemny's voice, and she had this bell. She'd be like, let's go. And I was like, yeah, So when I tell you, when I share with you my excitement for this woman, it's because she personally is responsible for me being here in the space. She's personal. Her energy, kept me riding high, kept me coming back, kept me wanting to hear stories. She set such an amazing, yes, you did, Lemmy. You set such an amazing example of onboarding people and sharing from your heart. And also, you get raw with people too. When they stepped out of line, and I was like, yes, no, this is important.
Oh my God. Like, oh my, I was checking everybody.
It was needed. It was needed, it was needed, and so I just wanna say, like, you set such a prime example for me of how to be authentic in the space, and it wasn't about making everybody happy, and, it wasn't for you a popularity contest. You were always yourself, and you always had high energy, and you always kept it real, and I have nothing but just so much appreciation and respect for you. So when we were talking the other day, yeah, and, I was asking you,
Yeah.
I was saying to Lenny, I was saying, I'm getting ready to put some art on Bitcoin. What do you think
Yes.
about that?
Oh my goodness, me too, please.
Yeah, and so this conversation that all of us are sharing together was born.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so let me ask you a question, Lenny. So, what makes you want to mint on the blockchain? Like, what makes you want to bring it here? Why are you minting on the blockchain? Your
Thank you
art.
so much. Thank you so much for like having me. Thank you for your beautiful energy. Like I've been wanting to do this for a while. Okay, I've just been watching everybody just like go fly the coop and just go into Bitcoin. And I was like, wait, me too. But all I've been in this space now for like 3 years. I started over at Searchlight as a curator, so I really had this opportunity to see all these artists come in and to kind of like, have that responsibility and that gift and privilege of being a curator and a quote unquote gatekeeper to like allow everyone in through the doors because I know what it's like, to be held back. And we were so new back then. So like when I think of Bitcoin, that's like the holy grail of crypto. It's kind of like the granddaddy grandmama chain, and it birthed us all Satoshi. Okay, thank you so much, Satoshi. So like with all that said, like it's the place where we kind of all want to be. It's again the granddaddy of them all. And I really wanted to have my legacy and for my family in the future, for provenance, and to just kind of have something held, with some sanctity. Like not that any of the other chains are like less worthy, but I think that Bitcoin like ideologically represents something for us as artists in the space. So having been had the opportunity to sell over 91 of one NFTs, being collected by like World of Women and like Nyla Collection and being in Forbes magazine, it's really wonderful to continue that body of work, and to put stuff on this blockchain. So I hope that answers your question. That's why I want to be on Bitcoin because the world is going in that direction. Like the next 100 years is going to be blockchain technology. Currency is going to be digital. And so like I really want to grow this wealth for my family. For future generations. And also just have we were just having this conversation earlier, like, oh my goodness, there's these marketplaces that are disappearing, and so like what can we do to mint your work and have it on the blockchain on a place where it won't disappear, and Bitcoin is it. So that's that.
That's
So
a big one.
yep.
Mm, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
Yep.
sorry about those marketplaces that didn't stay in business. It's unfortunate, but there's always another way. So this is that way that we got right now,
Very
and
much.
pretty exciting. So we wanted to get together tonight and just kind of powwow and talk about like what she's going to put on Bitcoin. I want to see what she's going to do because I'm just nosy like that, and and so we thought you should see it too, and and I just wanted to give some preparation and because as I'm preparing myself. So one thing I know that the the way that we're going to mint, I know the Xverse wallet, that's the one to download. The
Okay.
Xverse wallet.
Taking
And
notes. Okay. And
yeah,
anybody watching, you should too. Okay. If you haven't done this before, because I'm the baseline for like the most ignorant of folks in the space. So if I can't do it and we do it here together, you can do it too. Okay, let's go.
let's go. Let's go. So, what I got a really interesting piece of advice from the founder of Adores. And
Mhm.
Adores is a place to mint art on Bitcoin, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But he said, yeah, right. When you make your Xverse wallet, he said you should have two cryptocurrency journals.
Ooh, okay.
And
What
you,
is
yeah,
what is
because I mean, like we know that. So, like for example, uh, a friend of mine, he has this really lovely product, and it's actually like four pieces of really thin copper. It's like paper, but it's actually copper,
Mhm.
and you can write your seed phrases on it. And there's four because you're supposed to put it in different places. One for your lockbox, one for this place, one for your home, one for whatever. So if there's a fire or you lose one or there's a flood, you have a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to download the Xverse wallet, and you'll want to write your seed phrase by hand, and you'll want to put it in two separate journals,
Got
and
it.
you'll never want to take any screenshots or anything of it, because screenshots end up in centralized locations like Google Drives and Apple Drives, and we don't want that.
No, actually, in fact, someone pretty big in the space, and I'm terrible with names, but he was just talking about how he lost. He doesn't even know how it happened, but he lost access to his wallet and all of his family's life savings and things like this, and so it's really important, to protect and have backups for this. So thanks for the reminder.
Yes, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it's interesting. It's like so high tech, and yet here we are writing it by hand,
Yeah.
um, keeping it safe. It's so interesting, like this duality of high tech and handwritten. It's very interesting. Right?
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway, to make a long story short, what happened was he took a screenshot of it, and it was on his like Google Drive, and someone went into his Google Drive and got it. So don't do that. You don't want it anywhere near a computer. Best practices for sure.
Absolutely. Even if it's inconvenient, it's better to be inconvenienced than down down in the chips.
Yeah.
So there's that. And how to prepare your art for Bitcoin Network. So now this is like a little note that from my experience. So I minted my first collection on Bitcoin just before I went to Art Basel last December. And yeah, and the file size matters, because the larger the file size, the more expensive it will be for yourself, for your collector. There's lots of different ways to optimize your files, not only changing the size, but also like a difference between like a WebP file or some of those other newer file formats can help your beautiful file stay small.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at Lemny's art here in just a moment, and she's going to tell us a little bit about it. And I just happened to notice as we were preparing the show that this collection that she's going to show us is actually really perfect for. I think it's perfect for Bitcoin. Like unlike some of my art, so like I'm an art maximalist. I have like metallics and it's 3D and it's like very heavy files. My files are like sometimes like nearly they can be pretty big. So it's so you so when we look at her artwork, you're going to see like, oh, I bet your files are going to be really lightweight. You may not even have to do much work to create all the different formats. But we're going to do that together next week, so you don't have to worry about any of that today. And without further ado, maybe we can check out the art that you want to share. Shall I pull up the image, or do you want to?
Let's do it. If you don't mind, please. Most
I
gracious.
don't mind at all.
Thank
Yes, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up right now.
you. Ooh, awesome. Really excited
Yeah.
to get into this
Let me
and
see.
yeah, show
Oh,
everyone. I
yeah, I'm
can't.
really excited. So do you want to start with commuters or Queensbound?
Let's go with Queensbound if you can pull that up if that's easier. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share the screen here. Take me just a moment.
Thanks,
There
Maxximillian.
we go. It's my pleasure. Okay, share.
Ah,
There
there.
we go. And I'm
All right,
gonna take this down for a sec so we can see. Sorry that my little name place is there. I don't know how to get rid of that.
fine. That's fine. And just so that everyone knows, this is a cropped image, so you'll be able to see the fuller image once it gets minted. So this is just a preview of it, and so this is a part of this is Queens Bound, and this piece is a mix of digital and drawing, a sketch that I did of a gentleman that I saw. So, like I told you earlier, I'm based in New York City, born and raised. And one of the things that I like to do for my own mental health, and as a clinical psychologist, right? Like I'm constantly trying to employ different strategies to like maintain my composure. New York City is extremely busy, and there's a lot of congestion. There's a lot of energy, and how do you protect your space? And one of the things that I like to do is to go into flow. And how do I do that? By doing things that help me, you know, suspend time and space. So how do we do that? With art, with exercise, meditation, these types of things, these nonverbal things. And so when I'm on the subway, I'm taking pictures, I am drawing folks. And so this one gentleman caught my eye. I think, I can't recall, but as you can tell, and thank you so much for the side by side of the photograph, he's not wearing very much. And the person behind him, if you can see, is fully clothed. And I believe it was like either like a fall or a spring situation. We were in between seasons. But all of his I'm also a practicing Buddhist, and very kind of like inclined into like Eastern philosophy and Eastern thought. And so his raksha beads really drew me in, and he just felt like such a free spirit, that I wanted to capture his beauty and interpret that. And so I took his photograph, and then I did a quick sketch. And then after I did the sketch, I uploaded the sketch into Procreate, and I digitized it. And then I did a couple more edits, and then he's ready and good to go. And looking forward to him being part of this collection, the Subway series, which is more of these types of individuals that I encounter. One thing, Maximilian, that's really funny is how small the world is. You think New York is huge, but some of these people I continuously see. So I don't know if we make that connection, and I was like, okay, now we saw each other. Now, and then I'll see them again, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, look at this. I have your picture. I took this once before, and it'll just be like, I think that they'll be upset, because sometimes I'll tell people, if I take their picture, sometimes I do it anonymously. It really depends what's happening. And so it warms my heart, because one of the things that we like to talk about, at least in Web3, is privacy, and so like these are things that, when you're doing art, one of the things that's important to me is to, capture the world that's around me, particularly for those who are going to be looking at our art 100 years from now on the blockchain, and I want them to see, like, this is how New Yorkers were rolling. This is what we were doing. This is how we were dressing. These were the devices that were in our hands at the time. These were the habits and things that we were engaging in. So that's a little bit of a backstory about, Queens Bound and this one gentleman. I really wanted to accentuate, his dress, and obviously, again, the beads, and really wanted to kind of like highlight, just him in this time and space, and being in the zone. And then consequently me being in the zone by interpreting him through these gestural drawings, which I'm really enjoying. So thank you so much for, asking about him and this picture and this artwork. And I'm really excited to mint this on the blockchain. Let's go.
Yeah, sweet. This is really amazing. Haha. I wonder how it will be for some of these people are going to find out someday that they've been a subject of an artwork.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be really interesting and unique. The times that someone has come to me and shown me a sketch that they did of me or something, it's always taken me by surprise that I was interesting enough for someone to even doodle on a notebook.
Yeah.
So there's something very special about knowing that you've been seen and being able to have a dialogue with someone who is drawn to your energy, whatever something about us.
Yeah.
Just, that I think that's really what this one of these things that human experience is about. It's about being seen by others, and that is in itself an experience.
Being witnessed,
Uh,
right? Yes.
yeah, you
Yeah.
exist. You exist. So
That's it.
let's see. I also have this other one called commuters.
Yes.
So let me pull up commuters. I remember when I saw you post this and I was like, oh, oof, oof. I saw the picture. I was like, oh, wow. Let me
You.
see here. I'm going to pull this up. Oh, yeah, here we go.
I love
Oh,
this.
wait, oh, sorry. Let me pull up the other one. Sorry. I'm like, go ahead and talk about it.
Sure. So, oh my goodness, this piece is so freaking awesome. What's so awesome about this is second, it's a sticker now. So it's all over the city. So like that's one thing. So if you're collecting this art once it hits the blockchain and once it's on Bitcoin, you will also have something originally that's in the world, and in particular New York City. So this piece, it's winter. I took this last year, this photograph, and this woman actually, the one that's sitting with a gray hair next to the gentleman towards the right, she squeezed in. And if you've ever been in New York on the subway in the wintertime and everyone's got the coats, okay, there's not much room in the seats anymore, okay? And courtesy and communication and, conveying your thoughts and in a space, particularly like New York, that's very overcrowded, where there's like a lot of energy, you know, um, we're just mindful of these things, it's like, how dare you? So as she sits in, you can see her. I don't know if you can tell, she's a little bit rigid, she's a little bit tight, she's looking up, you know there's that gentleman to the left of her, and then the other person to the left was her daughter, okay, which I didn't know until like he got up afterwards, and then they were able to sit together and have that conversation. All this is backstory that you don't know, right? But
Right.
what I really love about this piece is the sketch, the drawing, really kind of like capturing the details of the hair, their dress, what's it like to be in New York in a winter's day, to be going somewhere, and trying to get some relief and to sit in, among
Mm,
people, but not necessarily having the words at the time to communicate what you want and you need from those people. So all of them kind of like everyone's energy just completely dispersed, and pulled away from her. So I tried to kind of like capture, that emotion of
mm,
folks. And he's kind of like, you know, I'm not sure whether I want her here either, and then the other women just they completely dissociated and went into the world of their phones, So like I wanted to kind of like I thought I was like, these people are amazing and I have to take their picture, and this brings up also Maxximillian, as a psychologist, and we're talking about privacy, being on the blockchain, anonymity, crypto, like what's it like, when we're walking in public spaces and we don't have that privacy afforded to us, talking about the ethics of having our images taken, and utilized, and in what ways. So when someone always asks me like, you just did you ask them, I was like, don't you think they'd be pissed, and I was like, oh, it's a public space, so it's not illegal. One, okay, just because it's not legal or just because it is legal doesn't make it ethical necessarily, right? Those two things aren't always one and the same. Okay, all
Oh,
that
I'm
to make
so glad you mentioned that because a lot of times people say if it's legal, I can.
no. I mean, right? Like that's circumstantial. And where I like to go when I answer that is one, like what's the intention? And the intention is not to harm. The intention is to celebrate, to really demonstrate the beauty. Again, to capture these moments of humans being human, for people 100 years from now to see this, on the blockchain, if that makes sense. And also, like, I'm so fascinated when I see, photographs of humans 100 years ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at their clothes, like, and you could change a couple things, and they could be right here, right now, So I want to
Yo,
say it.
yo, I've seen some people with my same haircut. I was like, oh.
So that's what's up. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm doing with the Subway series. It's like I'm a New Yorker, capturing images of New Yorkers, interpreting them in very beautiful artistic ways for collectors, for others, for myself, for community, for humanity, and for self-expression and for mental wellness, to like keep my mind sane as well. So it's multi-pronged what we do, and so it's really a gift to be, in this Web3 community, and to be able to do this, and to, to be pioneering and to be one of the first. So thanks for teaching me, appreciate ya.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure. And I think this is phenomenal. I just have to acknowledge, like, the expression on the man's face that you captured, actually on each of their faces. It's like uh, the man, his eyes, his mouth, like I'm getting his loneliness, but not is not quite the right word. His separateness. That's what it is. I'm getting his separateness. I'm getting his need to protectness. I'm getting I'm creating my own space here-ness.
Yeah.
But also there is the reason why I said loneliness, and it wasn't quite the right word. It's like being lonely in a room full of peopleness.
Yes, absolutely, like that isolation, and yeah.
Isolation, that's the word I was reaching for, that I think. Thank you for helping me get there. Yes. Isolation. That's the word I was looking for. You really captured it. It's so interesting how, you said it's just it's gestural, right? And it's really interesting the way that you've done this, because these are minimal lines, but you're capturing and you're saying a lot.
Thank you. Like, I really love this style, because what it's not about, is his hair in the right place, is it exactly the same? It's not. It's much more about, am I communicating what I'm seeing and the impressions that I'm receiving, right? Because, like, if you see her, the woman with the gray hair in the middle, she's almost disappearing, in the sketch. She is like squeezed to the point where, like, she's gone, and the woman to her right is almost grimacing a little bit, and so I just really appreciate this carte blanche, and this opportunity that art provides, for us to kind of like express ourselves in any which way that we see fit, in a free way, but also to, not necessarily have to be so literal, to be, a little allegorical, to just be like a little bit playful and expressive in this way. So this is a style that I appreciate, and is really synonymous with how I want to be: spontaneous, quick, primitive, simple, direct, and to the point, like a New Yorker. Okay, so let's go. Yes, thank you, sis, for asking me about this. And you're I can't hear you now. Are we There it is again.
Okay, all right. Yeah, my M was like, nope, nope, nope. So, so yeah, I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to talk about this, and looking forward to seeing what you do. And so, like, I know, like, it's 7:15 p.m. No, I'm kidding. It's in the evening over here on the West Coast, so I know it's super late over there. So I want to make sure that you get your rest, your beauty sleep. But before you go, I just wanted to let everybody know. I'm gonna switch back here and stop sharing the screen real quick. Hold on. Stop sharing. And I want to let everybody know that you also have art on Foundation.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so I want people to know about this as well. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your collections that are on Foundation, and how and why you selected this particular series for Bitcoin, the Subway series, as opposed to your other work, which is on Foundation. And it's available. There are still some pieces for that you can collect on Foundation. But yeah, take it away, Lemny. Give us a
little feedback on this. So this is gosh, this collection here is on Foundation, and this particular piece is called Kalula. And so this collection is about my spirituality, and me being on the blockchain. Because as a psychologist, you're kind of like trained to, at least the way that I was trained psychodynamically, is to be like a blank slate, and so what I'm afforded through the lens of being an artist is to really kind of like be integrated. And this is one of the things that I love about Web3, is that so many of us are polymaths, so many of us are multidisciplinary, have so many different skill sets, and this is the one space where our neurodivergence and our decentralized ways of being in the world is actually accepted. Because most times you'll be told in life, pick something and stick to it, and focus, and so what am I supposed to do with the writer side of me? What am I supposed to do with the Buddhist side of me, the queer side of me, all these different myriads of identities, and the blockchain Web3 welcomes that. It actually, like, no one is doing one thing, especially as creatives. You're doing your marketing, you're doing this, you're wearing so many hats. So with this collection, I wanted to talk about the things that I don't necessarily speak about, that can be taboo in other fields or in other disciplines. And Kalula was someone, he's deceased, and he was a lama who was part of the head of one of the lineages in part of Tibetan Buddhism. And while I was working at a prison in the central coast of California, I would listen to a lot of his teachings. And those teachings really supported me with creating a space of love and empathy while going into a very violent and destructive space like prisons, like penitentiaries. So I wanted to bring this into the blockchain as a gratitude and thank you to him for serving me the way that he has. And I just wanted to honor him in that way. This is my high Siditi, okay, collection. All right. And so like I was like, nah, this is 1 ETH. Okay, like if you want this is really worth a lot, because what he was able to do for me was I had the ability to transmute. In prison, it's not a pretty place. No one wants to go there. No one wants to be there. And so one of the things that can happen there is that the energy gets to you. You get mean in prison. And so Kalula was one person who, through my spiritual practice, when I would walk into the prison, in Buddhism we believe that, like, eternity exists. So if eternity exists, that means that everyone in this world you've been in relationships with them in multiple different ways, right? Because eternity is everything forever, right? And so not only have they been everything forever, but they've also been your mom. You've been my mom. All the folks who I would see at the prison were my mom. So I would see them as my mom. And in that way, I could, you repay your mother for like holding you for 9 months, and all of these things that mothers do. So as part of your practice, that's what we were doing. So that's Kalula. He's on Foundation. You can see him there if you want to purchase him. He's up for 1 ETH. I think ETH is down right now, so it's a good time to buy. All right, but when we're talking about Bitcoin and we're talking about the Subway series, what is it about the Subway series that's so special? Is that actually this is my first fine art collection, right? Where I'm actually drawing and sketching, and my intention is for those who are collecting to also receive the original pieces. So not only are you going to be receiving and buying the Bitcoin digital asset, but you will also have a physical piece, the original art piece, coming to you. So with the fine art, with something that is sketched, I really wanted to make this special, and I was like, these are golden to me. What's a golden blockchain? And that's Bitcoin. So I hope that answers your question.
100, 100. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's go. Well, next Friday, Lemny and I will be back, and we will be with the founder of Adores, which is the place where we're going to be minting our work on Bitcoin. So definitely give Lemny a follow. This QR code will help you easily to find her on X, where she often shares her work. So definitely give her a follow. In case you've forgotten, my name is Maxximillian, and you can find me and you can see my art by scanning the QR code that says pepavaggio.art. You could also go there, check it out, and we'll see you back here soon. Lemmy, I want to just say thank you. Would you like to say any parting words to close the show?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Maxximillian, for having me here. Thank you so much for the founder of Adore for having us. I cannot wait to meet you next week. Everybody, come back. If you're not already following Maxximillian, you need to. She is the dope. She's naive. Okay. She's just amazing. And for everyone out there in the world, thank you so much for being alive, for being present, for witnessing each other. It's such a gift to be alive right now, to be witnessing these times. If you can get on the blockchain, do that for future generations to come. Leave a legacy, leave something in history. We were here, we were alive, and thank you so much for being present with me. I look forward to connecting with you. Stay in touch. Go ahead and link up with that QR code. I'm Dr. Lemny. If you need anything, please let me know. Do not hesitate. I'm at your service. Thank you, Maxximillian. This has been dope and fly. Appreciate you and love you.
Ow! I love you too. And friends, I love you.